But in essence, it's like, you know how you get money from people? You break legs, right? You shoot somebody. And that's what we're going to be ended up, because we're constantly getting further into debt. Do you think it's possible that the people that we borrow money from, say China, have you heard about this country, China? Michael, you've heard about China, right? You heard about China. Let's say China's like, you know, they're looking at the books and they're going, well, you know, these Americans, they all owe us an awful lot of money, and they keep borrowing money from us to pay off the money that they borrowed from us already. We're going to call in that debt. Do you know what happens when they call in that debt? We basically end up at war, because we have guns still, right? Like, that's the one thing we've got. We've got big bombs. And if they're like, you know what, we want to be paid now. This is sort of like a mafia situation, right? Like when you go watch Sopranos.
You know, I've been saying for years that the problem that we have with China, putting aside the trade asymmetry that we're all seeing right now, is they own a ton of our debt. And if they were ever to call us in, guys, we'd like our cash now. Well, we can't pay it off because we're a debtor nation. That's what Trump is trying to solve right now, right? So they own our debt. And think about a mafia movie. You owe the guy money. How does the mafia get the money back? Well, the mafia's got guns. And if you had more guns than the mafia wouldn't be the mafia, right? They'd be a pretty shitty mafia if they lent out money and then they didn't have some sort of threat that they could put upon you to pay the money back. If we've got the most nukes and the most powerful army and everything else, they kind of know they're never gonna get paid back.
If tariffs are so bad, then why do they have them? So it might not be that tariffs are inherently horrible. Tariffs are horrible when you are on the receiving side of the bad end of the tariff. Trump is trying to tariff so we can eliminate tariffs. I think I used this analogy last week. You ever play Monopoly when you're a kid and you're playing Monopoly, you got a couple friends around the Monopoly board, and somehow the guy who's also the banker always has a little more cash than everybody. He can somehow buy all those hotels on Baltic Avenue and turn it into Atlantic Avenue. And then you start realizing, oh, every time I turn around or pee, this guy's taking a little cash. That's basically what's been happening here. And then what happens? Then you throw the board, you hit him with it, you force some of those hotels down his throat. We've all been there. That's what's been going on here. So unless you want Trump to do that to you, come to the table, people. Rumble Premium, and then more on just the general state of lunacy. But the point is not to tariff them 400%. The point is you threaten them with this. Guys, this has been completely unfair forever. And if you don't change the deal, we're gonna tariff the shit out of you. They also own a ton of our debt. If our money becomes valueless, in essence, they will have no access to get any money back. We have had so little access to so many markets, which is why all of our manufacturing has collapsed and everyone sells to us. We're the richest nation on the planet, at least for now, until China calls in their debts, and then we're gonna have another big problem, but we'll have more in China in just a minute. I have never seen so much value destroyed deliberately. This is the worst leadership ever. So 5 years ago, if you cared about the stock market, you don't really understand anything. Now it goes down by 10% as we're trying to reorder things, and it's the worst leader ever. Completely and utterly ridiculous. And by the way, for Democrats and a guy like you who wants, he wanted universal basic income, which basically in some senses is communist, what would you actually do? What would really be the best way to get the economy going right now? It is so obvious and so easy, and that's why it's never discussed. You know what you do? You'd cut government spending and you'd cut taxes, period. How about we cut taxes on literally every single person in the United States? Everybody. I'm literally just throwing this out there. Crazy Dave with one of his crazy proclamations. How about we cut taxes 25% on every single person? Every single person across the board, federal, state, local, whatever it might be, you're gonna have 25% more money to do whatever you want with. Do you think that might get the economy going? Because then people would start spending more money again. And as people spend more money, then the prices of things, because there's more economic activity, might go down. But they'll never do that, right? They'll never do that. I would basically be for some sort of flat tax. I'm just gonna pick a number for a second and we can go back on that. Let's say 15% flat tax. And if you made less than 50 grand, you don't pay any taxes because you need the help the most. And if you make over 10 million or something, like I would pick it something pretty high, you pay another 2%, and then maybe over 100 million, you pay another percent. I'm a big flat tax guy. I wrote about a flat tax in Don't Burn This Book. Like, to me, it doesn't matter exactly what the percentage is, but to me, if everybody had, let's say, 15% flat tax. All right, if you make under 50, you don't get taxed at all, and if you make over, I don't know, 2 million bucks, we could pick what the number is, a year. You could have a slight progressively increased version of that, 17, 18%, something like that.
So, as a general rule, if you were to, and I argued for this in my first book, like I would be for a flat tax. If you had a flat tax for, let's say 15%, first off, I think you can make an argument for no tax, but putting like the pure libertarian thing aside, if you had a flat tax argument where everyone was just paying the same exact percentage, so if you made $1 million, you're paying 15%, or if you made $100,000, you're paying 15%, I think that removes a lot of the problems you're talking about, because everyone feels that the skin in the game is exactly the same. I think you could probably say, all right, if you make under 50 grand, you pay no tax, and if you make over 5 million a year, throw a couple extra percentage points in. I don't even think that economically works, or as I said, morally.
I would say people need a little relief, and how about a flat tax? 15%. Everybody pays 15%. That's it. No state income. Well, the states can do whatever the hell they want. So states will do what they want, but no, just a flat tax for everybody. You know what? If you make under 50 grand, you get waived. And if you make over 5 mil a year, we'll tack on another 2%. I don't even think that's moral or legit, but we'll throw a bone to the progressives.
I believe in free market capitalism. I want there to be as much competition as possible.
Competition would start kicking in.
How do you afford a house? Well, one way you might want to do it is I would, if I was in charge of your country or mine, I would lower taxes for everybody. I would do a flat tax for everybody. Make sure, so whether you're a billionaire or whether you make $100,000 or 75 grand, whatever it might be, you're going to pay whatever the number is. We can all agree on the number. Let's say it's 10%. Would you be for a flat tax? Pick whatever the number is, 12% on
No, because it won't work. A flat tax always still going to work.
Elon Musk, a man who's rescuing astronauts, a man who's got people playing chess that are paraplegics. He's doing things so that paraplegics can now play chess, even though they can't move any of their limbs.
David, that sounds ridiculous.